Hey, you! Yeah, you! The one scrolling through YouTube, wondering if there's still any Hollywood news that can actually surprise you. Well, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just juicy. It's a triple shot of A-list drama that's got everyone talking. What if I told you Johnny Depp just pulled off the ultimate power move that left Disney reeling, like red-faced and scrambling for damage control? And just when you thought it couldn't get any wilder, secrets about Leonardo DiCaprio's off-screen life, stuff he's kept very private, are suddenly coming to light. Oh, and Jennifer Lawrence? Yeah, her situation is taking a turn that fans definitely didn't expect. Some say she's over, others say this is the start of a whole new chapter. Either way, it's intense. Sounds too crazy to be true? That's what most people thought, until it all started spilling out, piece by piece. So grab your drink, get comfy, because we're diving deep into the wildest corners of the entertainment world today. This isn't just another celebrity gossip roundup. This is about power plays, public perception, and what happens when stars refuse to play by Hollywood's rules anymore. Let's start with the man of the hour, Johnny Depp. Now, if you've been following his story, you know that Johnny isn't just an actor. He's practically a symbol of rebellion in Hollywood. From 21 Jump Street to Pirates of the Caribbean, his career has spanned decades and genres, and yet it took just one high-profile legal battle to nearly erase him from the Hollywood A-list. When Disney dropped him faster than you could say, Jack Sparrow. During the Amber Heard controversy, fans were outraged. And Johnny? Well, he didn't go down without a fight. Fast forward to now, and Johnny Depp is doing more than just making a comeback. He's doing it on his own terms. His latest film, a European period drama that most mainstream studios wouldn't touch, is receiving standing ovations at major film festivals. Critics, many of whom had been skeptical, are praising his performance as one of his most nuanced in years. It's got depth, it's got soul, and most importantly, it's proving that you don't need Disney's billion-dollar machine to be relevant or respected. But that's not the most shocking part. Behind the scenes, insiders have revealed that Depp is quietly pursuing legal routes to claim damages against Disney for breach of contract and reputational harm. Yeah, you heard that right. Johnny might sue the very company that made billions off his image. And honestly, can you blame him? For years, he was Captain Jack Sparrow. He helped build a multi-billion-dollar franchise. And then, boom, dropped like he was nothing. The humiliation wasn't just personal, it was public. And now, it's payback time. Here's where it gets interesting. The public is on his side. Big time. Social media is flooded with "Daksha Justice for Johnny" and "Daksha Disney Do Better" hashtags. Even former Disney insiders have anonymously admitted that dropping Depp was a rushed PR move, one that may have backfired spectacularly. According to one exec, there are regrets, quiet ones of course, but they're there. And that's where the humiliation for Disney really kicks in. They gambled that the public would forget Johnny, that the controversy would be too messy, but instead, Depp emerged with a global fan base even more loyal than before, people who saw through the smear campaigns and rallied behind him. It's a classic underdog story, and Hollywood rarely forgives, but audiences, they love a comeback. And Johnny's is cinematic. Now let's pivot to Leonardo DiCaprio, who's managed to keep his life incredibly private, despite being one of the biggest stars on the planet. You know him as the guy who finally won an Oscar for The Revenant, the guy who's been yelling, "I'm the king of the world" in memes for over 2 decades, and the guy who's dated pretty much every supermodel under 25. But lately, the spotlight has shifted. Not because of a new role, but because of what's been leaking behind the scenes. Sources close to DiCaprio have revealed that he's been investing heavily in emerging industries, especially in fields that seem out of character for the eco-conscious actor. We're talking luxury tech, next-gen transportation, even speculative AI startups. It's not just philanthropy anymore, it's strategy. Leo is building an empire, quietly. He's also rumored to be backing a new studio project that will fund indie films, focused on climate change, civil rights, and political reform, but without the constraints of the traditional Hollywood system. In other words, DiCaprio's trying to reshape not just the content, but the business model of filmmaking itself, That's huge. It means creative freedom, ethical investment, and possibly a new era of Hollywood that answers to artists, not studios. But it's not all about business. Leo's personal life is also under a microscope, and it's not the usual "who's he dating" buzz. Word is, he's been quietly involved in a relationship that's more serious than anything we've seen from him publicly. No cameras, no tabloid walks, just low-key, meaningful connection. For someone who's always kept relationships pretty fleeting, this is different. And fans are speculating, is Leo finally evolving from bachelor to family man? Or is this just a new PR pivot? Some say it's all calculated, but if it is, it's working. DiCaprio's image is shifting from playboy actor to thoughtful mogul, and that rebranding, if successful, could redefine how aging male stars stay relevant. In the youth-obsessed Hollywood machine, now onto Jennifer Lawrence, whose story is perhaps the most surprising of all. Not too long ago, she was the face of a generation, Katniss Everdeen, Mystique, the quirky interview queen who had no filter and no fear. She was Hollywood's darling. But lately, things have changed. Dramatically, after a string of high-profile box office disappointments and some controversial public statements that rubbed fans and critics the wrong way, Jennifer's star power seemed to dim. She took a step back from the spotlight. No major films, no red carpets, no meme-worthy talk show moments. For a while, it seemed like she was disappearing altogether. Now we're hearing reports that she's intentionally stepping away from acting, as maybe not permanently, but long enough to reset her life and priorities. Some insiders suggest it's due to burnout, others point to backlash over her political activism, and a few hint at deeper personal struggles. But here's the thing. Jennifer's not running. She's recalibrating. Sources close to her say she's been working on a passion project, something deeply personal and very different from the roles she's known for. Something smaller, more intimate, possibly even a directorial debut. If that's true, then Jennifer might be pulling the ultimate Hollywood move, stepping out of the spotlight to gain creative control behind the scenes. And honestly, that might be exactly what she needs. Hollywood is brutal, especially for women, and even more so for women who speak their minds. Taking time to heal, reassess, and reemerge on your own terms isn't weakness. It's power. So no, Jennifer Lawrence isn't finished. She might just be getting started in a whole new way. Now, if you're wondering whether these stories have anything in common, they absolutely do. What ties all of this together is control. Each of these stars, Johnny Depp, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Jennifer Lawrence, is making moves that shift the power dynamic. They're saying no to the system, no to public manipulation, and yes to authenticity. Depp's fight with Disney isn't just about a contract, it's about reclaiming dignity. It's about standing up to a behemoth corporation that turned its back on him at the first sign of controversy, rather than standing by a man who had been the face of one of its most lucrative franchises. Johnny Depp wasn't just playing Captain Jack Sparrow, he was Captain Jack Sparrow. For years, audiences around the world identified the success of Pirates of the Caribbean with his eccentric, brilliantly crafted performance. But the moment things got messy in his personal life, Disney backed away, eager to preserve its family-friendly image, as if distancing itself from Depp would somehow protect it from backlash. What they didn't anticipate was the sheer force of public support that would later rally behind Depp. The fallout from the trial with Amber Heard wasn't just legal, it was cultural. Depp became a symbol of how quickly a public figure can be discarded, regardless of evidence or context. But instead of quietly fading away, Depp chose to fight. Not only did he battle legally, but he also made a stunning return to the screen, working with European directors and indie filmmakers, opting for art over spectacle. His latest film didn't just succeed, it shattered expectations. Critics praised it for its emotional depth, its artistry, and perhaps most importantly, for Depp's restrained yet powerful performance. It's almost poetic. The man dismissed. As Damaged Goods by Hollywood's largest studio finds redemption not through blockbuster explosions, but through craft and conviction. Behind closed doors, there's growing speculation that Depp may be preparing to take legal action against Disney for damages. Some insiders say that discussions about breach of contract, emotional distress, and reputational harm are underway. Whether or not he moves forward with a lawsuit, one thing is clear: Johnny Depp is not afraid anymore. He's taken back control of his narrative. By succeeding outside the system that once cast him aside, he's reminded the world that talent, when combined with resilience, is a force no studio executive can fully suppress. Meanwhile, Leonardo DiCaprio's story is unfolding on a different yet equally fascinating track. Long known for being the poster child of Hollywood stardom, the charming heartthrob, the Oscar-winning actor, the environmental crusader, DiCaprio has always had an enigmatic side. He rarely gives interviews, avoids social media, and keeps his private life fiercely guarded. But recent leaks have painted a more intricate picture of who Leo is behind the scenes. Apparently, he's been quietly channeling millions into industries that most wouldn't associate with him. Beyond his well-known environmental causes, he's taking deep dives into sectors like artificial intelligence, biotech startups, and luxury goods. Areas that suggest he's not just interested in saving the planet, but also in securing long-term influence. Some of these ventures are said to be passion projects, while others appear purely strategic. One insider claims that DiCaprio is working with top Silicon Valley minds to build a platform that merges entertainment with ethical tech development. If true, this would signal a bold shift in how Hollywood stars view their roles in society. Not just as entertainers, but as innovators and thought leaders. It's the kind of move that positions Leo not just as a star, but as a mogul in the making. What's even more surprising, though, are the rumors surrounding his personal life. For years, DiCaprio's dating history has been a favorite subject of tabloids, but now whispers suggest that he's entering a more grounded phase. Friends have reportedly noticed a shift in his lifestyle: less partying, more time spent. In quiet, intellectual company, even rumored talks of settling down. Whether this is a result of maturity, exhaustion, or a deeper desire for legacy, it marks a clear evolution. DiCaprio's brand has always been sleek, cool, and slightly untouchable. But as he approaches a new chapter in life, he seems to be redefining what it means to be a Hollywood icon in the 21st century. And then there's Jennifer Lawrence, the one-time golden girl of the industry, who dazzled the world with her Oscar win and her relatable, unfiltered charm. For a time, she was everywhere: red carpets, box office hits, magazine covers, viral interviews. But fame that burns that brightly rarely lasts without cost. In recent years, Lawrence has pulled back dramatically. Her public appearances have dwindled. She's taken fewer roles, and for many fans, the shift has been confusing, even worrying. Some point to critical flops as the reason: films that failed to live up to the hype, projects that didn't resonate. Others cite the toxic backlash she received during her peak, the harsh media critiques, the relentless scrutiny of her body, her voice, her opinions. But those closest to Lawrence paint a more nuanced picture. They say she simply got tired. Tired of performing, not just on screen, but in every aspect of her life. Tired of having to be likable all the time, tired of being a brand, tired of being America's sweetheart, when all she wanted was to live. Stepping away, in this context, isn't weakness, it's rebellion. Hollywood doesn't make it easy for women to age on their own terms, or to disappear without being branded a failure. But Lawrence seems to be rewriting the rules. Insiders say she's focusing on her family, spending time with her newborn, and reconnecting with the joy of life outside the spotlight. There's talk that she's choosing projects much more carefully now, leaning toward indie films with strong female directors and meaningful scripts. This kind of recalibration takes immense courage. Most stars, once in the limelight, become addicted to it. They fear losing relevance, but Jennifer seems to understand something deeper: that there's more to life than relevance. That personal peace is not found in box office numbers or trending hashtags. If anything, her retreat might be the most radical act of all in an industry that equates constant exposure with success. So when you look at these three stories, Depp, DiCaprio, and Lawrence, you see more than just celebrity gossip. You see three individuals navigating a ruthless industry with very different approaches. One chose to fight back, to reclaim his name and integrity. Another chose to evolve behind the scenes, building power in ways that the cameras don't capture. And the third chose silence, introspection, and self-preservation over applause. These aren't just career choices. They're deeply human responses to a system that often forgets the humanity of the people inside it. Johnny Depp's defiance is an act of survival. Leonardo DiCaprio's investments are a blueprint for sustainability, not just for the planet, but for his own legacy. And Jennifer Lawrence's pause is a quiet revolution, a signal to other actors that it's okay to stop, to breathe, to wait for a story worth telling. The world of Hollywood is glittering and brutal. It seduces with promises of glamour, wealth, and adoration, but just as easily consumes those who dare to fall out of line. It elevates the chosen with dizzying speed, crafting idols out of the talented and the beautiful, only to watch as those same idols stumble under the weight of constant surveillance, criticism, and expectation. In an industry obsessed with image, youth, and relevance, even the slightest deviation from the narrative can mean exile. One moment, you're everyone's favorite star. The next, you're an afterthought, judged, mocked, or forgotten. There is no pause button, no safe haven, and certainly no room for vulnerability. It's a machine that feeds on novelty and perfection, where every smile, misstep, and silence is dissected for meaning, and where authenticity can be both currency and curse. Yet within this relentless environment, Johnny Depp, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Jennifer Lawrence have each carved out a defiant space of their own. Their paths are not identical, but they are united by something rare in the entertainment world: agency. They've each reached a point where they no longer allow Hollywood to dictate the terms of their worth. Depp, maligned and abandoned, chose not to fade but to rise again on his own terms, proving that redemption doesn't require the industry's permission. DiCaprio, rather than chasing the spotlight, has quietly positioned himself as a visionary. Beyond acting, carefully building influence that isn't reliant on his face on a movie poster. And Lawrence, once the darling of every award show and talk show couch, had the audacity to step away, to say no, to turn inward, to protect what the world seemed eager to take from her: her peace. What they embody is a quiet rebellion against the notion that stars must always be on. They remind us that success doesn't have to come at the expense of selfhood. That survival in Hollywood, the kind that matters, isn't about staying in the headlines. It's about staying true to yourself, even when the system tells you that's not enough. In pushing back against the pressures of fame, in choosing integrity over appeasement, they're not just surviving, they're redefining what it means to be a star. And maybe, just maybe, there's a lesson in all of this for the rest of us. When the world tries to define you by your worst moments, by the mistakes you made or the gossip that swirls around you, you can either let it crush you or you can take back your story. That's what these three stars are doing, each in their own way. Now I've got to ask, which part of this story caught you off guard the most? Was it Depp's legal revenge tour against Disney, Leo's secret empire building, or Jennifer's quiet but powerful career pivot? I want to hear your thoughts, your hot takes, and your theories in the comments below. And if you're loving this kind of deep dive into the human side of fame, make sure you check out my last video, where we uncovered the most shocking celebrity feuds that never made headlines. It's got drama, betrayals, and a few surprise reconciliations you won't believe. I'll link it right here on screen and in the description. Before you go, don't forget to like this video if you found it interesting, and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that little bell so you never miss the truth behind the headlines. Because around here we don't just chase gossip, we chase meaning. Thanks for hanging out with me. And until next time, stay curious.